Today I'm going to be reviewing the ESV Gospel Transformation Study Bible, and this is from Crossway. And the main purpose of this Bible is to show Christ in all of Scripture, through the Old Testament, the New Testament, just kind of tie all that together. And this is the True Tone chestnut cover. Now this Bible's been out before for a little while, and the hardcover was available on Crossway's website still, but the True Tone had not been available for a good bit here. So that is back out again as of, I believe it's like the first week of August here, 2024. And I think they may have added a couple new articles into it. I've seen this Bible before. For the most part, it looks like the same. But like I said, I think they added a couple like little articles or different supplementary resources to this. So I will go through this Bible today and show you what's inside in case you're not familiar with it or you want to see how it's changed in your copy. And like I said, this is the True Tone chestnut cover. So I'll show the cover and then I'll go over some of the features real quick. I took it out of the box so we didn't have too much camera shaking. But I like the gold on the spine. We have ESV, Gospel Transformation Study Bible, English Standard Version, and Crossway. We're going to get perimeter stitching. We're going to get one brown ribbon. And then we're going to get gold page gilding. All right, so before we go any further with that, let's go ahead and talk about some of the features of this Bible. So it says, see the gospel unfold on every page. We miss the point of biblical passages if we only identify their rules, morals, and examples, but do not see the grace that provided the instruction, the grace that will be needed to carry it out, and the grace that must compensate for our failure in the face of God's commands. The ESV Gospel Transformation Study Bible gets to the gospel root of every chapter of Scripture, helping readers understand how grace flourishes across centuries, countries, and personalities to culminate in the life-transforming provision of Jesus Christ, changing not only how we read the Bible, but also how we love and live for Him. So we're going to have a 9-point font for our Bible text, and then 8-point font for the study notes. It's a single column layout. It has gospel-centered study notes and book introductions, content written by a team of 50-plus contributors. And here we go, 5 all-new articles. I knew I saw that somewhere. 5 all-new articles on topics such as the relationship between the Old and New Testaments, the Gospel and the Old Testament, the covenants, and more. It has a concordance, 80,000 cross-references, and then as I showed you, it has a ribbon marker. All right, so let's go ahead and dig into this here. We're going to have a nice brown paste down liner. A couple blank pages in the beginning there. And then we're going to get our presentation page, as well as places to record marriages, births and adoptions, and deaths. I think I just skipped the title page there. And then we have a table of contents. Fingers do not like me when I try to do review videos for some reason, especially in the beginning of the Bible. I always get my fingers get jumbled up there. Anyway, then we have an introduction to the ESV Gospel Transformation Bible. So if you're not familiar with this Bible, start here, reading about it here so you know what it has to offer and how you can best use this Bible, give you some ideas. And then it also gives you ways to use this Bible, which is also very important. So talking about personal study, group study, family worship, discipleship, preparation for teaching, and conclusion. And then we get a list of contributors. So this isn't a study Bible. It's done by, one main contributor. This has, as I said before, like 50-plus people that put into this. So then we have the preface to the ESV. We're missing a page here. Yep, there we go. This is the explanation of features that are included in this edition. So special features talks about section headings and the cross-referencing system, types of cross-references and how to use the system, textual footnotes and types of footnotes, and then maps. All right, and then we're going to get into the book of Genesis here. So for each book, move a little closer here, you're going to get an introduction. The introduction is going to give you an author and date, the audience, and the gospel in this case, Genesis, or whatever book you're in. And then you're also going to get an outline. There's a lot of notes in this Bible, some pages more than others, obviously, just like any study Bible. So this has the typical study Bible layout. You're going to have your scripture on top here, and this is in a 9-point font, some footnotes over here, and then your study notes are separated by this line here, and then they're below in an 8-point font. An 8-point font size. So I like that it's in a single column layout. Just for some reason, I really like single column. Just reads more like a book. I get not a normal book, but you know what I'm trying to say. A typical book, I guess is a better way to say it. And you're not going to get a lot of like color in this. So that's one critique I guess I would have, is they could add a little color to it. Maybe, the chapter numbers and headings or something like that. But I'm just one that's something I like. Personal preference. It doesn't really like make the Bible unusable or undesirable or anything like that. What I do like about this Bible is I like how it ties the gospel and Jesus to every book in the Bible, whether it's in the Old Testament or the New Testament. Because I've said this before, I just feel it's so important that we see the Bible as one continuous story that all fits together. It's not the Old Testament that's obsolete and has already passed away, and then the New Testament with Jesus, and Jesus doesn't come into the factor in the Old Testament or anything like that. If you've read the Bible and studied the Bible, you know that's not true. So I just think it's really important to highlight that and remember that as we're reading through the Bible. All right, so let's just pick a study note here to read randomly. Let me see here. Some pretty long ones here. All right, I'll just pick an example, a random one here. This is Genesis 12:10, and we're in the story of Abraham here. It says, Abraham had no child, but was promised a family. He had no soil to cultivate, but was promised a land. He was promised blessing, but he experienced famine in the land. He lived with promise, but experienced only toil upon the earth the Lord had cursed. In short, Abraham was forced into dependent trust in the Lord. Then as now, it is the crucible of life, when all hope seems to have fled, that the path is cleared for God to work supernaturally. It is precisely at the moment when we despair and think we have nothing to offer the Lord that we can truly get to work on our hearts and through our lives. So you can see on that there are some notes in here that are more application. There's definitely study notes in here too. That makes it a little bit different than a typical study Bible, and also that a lot of the notes point us towards Jesus as well and has that particular theme. All right, so let's go ahead and jump ahead. Here is what Psalms looks like, so you can see how the poetic settings appear and look. Again, we're going to have our footnotes over here and continue to have our study notes at the bottom of every page. Let's go ahead and go back to the New Testament now. We're in the New Testament, but a little too far from what I'm trying to show you. Okay, here we are in John, so you can see this is a black letter text, which I prefer, although like I said, a little color would break it up a little more. There are some little charts and tables throughout in the study notes as well, like here. All right, let's go ahead and get to the end here. We're in Revelation, so we're almost there. All right, so at the end of Revelation, then we are going to have some more resources. And this is where you're going to see some differences from this the previous edition to this edition. And I don't think it's huge. I just think they added a couple articles in here. So we're going to have biblical theology, covenants, the gospel in the Old Testament. I believe that one might be new. I could be wrong because obviously I don't have the other copy here in front of me. The gospel in the New Testament, the relation of the Old Testament to the New Testament. These are really helpful articles. I've read a couple before when I had the previous edition, but I want to reread and read the new articles in here as well. Just great topics. And then we're going to get a topical index. I can't remember now that I'm thinking about it. It's been a while since I looked at the other one because I actually passed it on to a friend who was really interested in reading it. But I don't remember if any of those articles were in the last one. So I'm going to have to look that up. So if I misspoke on that, I apologize. Either way, though, whether I read them or not, I'm excited to read them. And then after the topical index, we're going to get the concordance here. There's also, right before the concordance, I accidentally skipped that, is a table of weights and measures. Also going to get Old Testament and New Testament abbreviations. Of course, this is our concordance here. About it, but I want to make sure. I think there's a Bible reading plan in here yet. Yep, there it is. Daily Bible reading plan. So this takes you through the Bible in a year. And it does not appear to be chronological or one of the plans that mixes Old Testament and New Testament. It starts in Genesis, ends in Revelation. And there's one for every day, a reading for every day of the year listed out. All right, I have contributors here again, the Study Bible publishing team. We have a couple blank pages, and then at the end, we're going to get our maps, which you will see in a typical Crossway Bible here. All right, and that takes us to the end of our Bible. So this would be a great Bible for a year in the Bible reading plan. Be a great Bible to help us focus as we're reading on Christ throughout every book of the Bible, whether you're in the Old Testament or the New Testament. A great way to tie the Old Testament and New Testament together when you're reading. And I love the ESV translation, and these notes seem pretty solid. Has some application in there, has some study content in there. And of course, we have those articles in the back that would be really helpful topics to read about as well, plus a topical index and a concordance. So definitely a great Bible for your personal reading or study time or even devotional time. I think it would be a great Bible for any of those purposes. It is a little thicker and heavier, so it might be a heavier one to carry to church, but it's not huge. So with the right Bible case or bag, you could definitely take it if you wanted to. Font size isn't huge either, but again, there's a lot in here, so I know why they made that choice. But it's not super tiny either at a 9-point font. It's about an average size with your study notes in that 8-point font there. So again, this is the Gospel Transformation Study Bible in the ESV translation, and it is from Crossway.